We're seeing on the Nigerian Stock Exchange there are marginal gains since yesterday. Why is that? Why is it only marginal gains thus far? Jude.
I think the interplay between supply and demand is about equal, and that's really what's causing the marginal gains. I think some of the gainers have the higher capitalization, and that's why we have these marginal gains. If not, would have been a marginal loss. Also, the January effect has waned off, and now we're seeing the cautious optimism, which is what I was expecting to happen in January. People are hopeful, but they're also watching events, both in the economy, in political arena, and on companies' operations.
When are you expecting profit takers to come back into the market?
I think they're there now, but what's happening, unfortunately, is that the average Nigerian investor does not have patience anymore to hang on to a position for, let's say, 2-3 weeks. Nowadays, you get 10% and you exit your position, which can take sometimes just 2 days to get 10%. So there's no more patience. That leads to more volatility and more of these marginal gains and losses we're experiencing right now. In terms of more people coming to the market, that will require the ASI index to have a much better return than 10%. Maybe around 25% between now and April. I think people will come back into the market. There's money there, but it's just not in the market right now.
Well, has your outlook for the Nigerian Stock Exchange changed since the beginning of January?
Beyond the January effect, I won't say it has changed. That was more of an anomaly in the system. Now we're seeing marginal gains and marginal losses, which has kept the ASI index at around 10–11%, which was mainly made in January anyway, and now we're in the third month of the year. So I'll say it's about the same. What's going to happen now between now and, let's say, April is you'll have the banks releasing their results. And our feelers are that people are going to expect better results than they may receive. I won't say they're going to be bad, but people are quite optimistic. And when they come out and they're not as good as people bargain for, that also put a damper on the market. So we don't really expect much activity, much, let's say, ASI gains between now and end of April, unless the banks turn out to actually do as well as people expect them to do for 2009 December. Yeah.
Well, let's look at the broader Nigerian economy MPC meeting. Many are expecting the interest rate to stay. What do you make of it?
We tend to agree because from the onset, the CBN governor has said inflation is not a problem in the sense that it's important to look at it, but he doesn't see that as a major problem in the country. Well, given the past 3 months, we've had an increase in the inflation rate. We're now over 12%. We hope he begins to see it in a different light. But given that he will not raise rates at this time, keep them as they are, he won't reduce them also. So that's really what it is. But we think going forward, he needs to reduce the rates so that it will stimulate the economy over time. Because right now there's money in the system, but it's not going to where it needs to go to. And that needs to change.
Yesterday we saw reports coming out of Nigeria saying the economic outlook for the country, the GDP growth rate is going to be at 6%. That's what the government is expecting Nigeria's growth rate to be at. Do you think that that's sustainable and that level is going to be reached?
6% is plausible, given that there are no more attacks by militants, which is the big if, and if funds that are provided to the states are put into the right resources, are put into the right places, it's quite plausible. Last year we were hearing about 8 and 9%. That was not feasible, but 6% is quite doable.
Are you bearish or bullish on the economic activity in the country right now?
We're more neutral.
Well, the last time also you were very neutral. That's a very easy way to get out of it. But anyway, we're going to be speaking to the DG of the Department of Petroleum Resources a little bit later. And I want to gauge from you what the fuel scarcity is like at the moment in Nigeria. Are there long queues at petrol stations? What is the scene like at the moment? Just to give us an idea of what's happening there.
In Lagos, it's all right. They've supplied enough fuel to meet demand in Lagos. So I'll say Lagos is all right. Other parts of the country, I'm not really sure. But what we're hearing so far is that it's better. They've improved. But the issue right now is that we're getting some feelers that things may change down the line because the importers are saying that they need guarantees for their payments. And if that's not given by the government, they will stop importing. So right now we're okay, Next month, we don't know.